This video is about one of Neville Goddard's manifestation techniques that has brought me the most significant change in my life. So many things that are in my reality now, like living in Spain, like being an online entrepreneur full time, were things that I used to dream about, I used to wish for, and I used to use this technique to help me to manifest it into my reality. So I'm going to be explaining in this video what the technique is and how to do it, because I think there's a lot of people who talk about it, but sometimes it can feel a bit confusing and hard to understand what it actually feels like to know you're doing it right. Neville Goddard was a thought leader of his time. He's one of the legendary OGs of manifestation today. Oh, by the way, just want to interrupt my video and say, if there are people in the comments saying like, I don't know why nobody's talking about this book, and then you go and Google the book title and it takes you to a random spammy page. So just ignore. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. The one Neville Goddard technique, which I have used over the last several years of my life, which has really changed the game for me. His idea of living in the end. When I first heard him say that, I didn't really understand what it meant. But the way I would describe what Neville Goddard means by living in the end is not thinking of what you want from the perspective where you don't have it yet, but instead actually feel like you are the version of you now who has it already. People refer to this as the law of assumption sometimes, because you assume the feelings, the mindset, the emotions, the personality of the version of you where it's already done. You have it already. As you can imagine, if you already had it right now, the way you would be feeling about it would be very different, right? Maybe you're currently feeling desperate or frustrated or stressed or lack. Whereas if you already had it right now, if you were already the person where it was accomplished, how would you be feeling? Perhaps you would be feeling a lot more confident, proud of yourself, fulfilled, relieved, at peace, like a weight has been lifted. That's kind of the cute surface level way of doing it, right? Where you swap these emotions for those emotions. Maybe you've even heard people go as far as saying, just ignore your current reality. But to be honest, that's never really resonated with me, because I don't know about you, but I've tried ignoring my present reality and it's a nigh impossible task. Well, it's all around you. So how could you possibly completely ignore your reality? If some people can, then they have more mental strength than I do. Hats off to them. But for us mere mortals who, do tend to notice the reality around us and struggle to ignore it completely, how can we use this idea of living in the wish fulfilled that Neville Goddard talked about to get results? Well, there's a variety of tools and techniques that I've kind of accumulated over the years that have really helped me to be able to sustain feeling like I'm already there for longer and longer periods of time. So the first technique that many of you have probably heard me talk about on this channel is scripting. And I use something called a scripting letter. I put it on my bedside table so that every morning and every night, it's the first and it's the last thing I look at, which also means it's the first and the last thing that my subconscious mind consumes and absorbs each and every day. And those are two extremely powerful times of day: when you are waking up and as you are drifting off to sleep. In the scripting letter, there's a whole playlist if you want to go and explore my scripting videos, but essentially it's about writing a letter of what you want to happen as if it's all already happened. It's a thank you letter. You are expressing gratitude for all these things in your life as if they're already your reality now. I encourage people when writing and reading their scripting letters that they take their time to really think about what will be different for you? What will change? How will your life be different? What will you be able to do? What is the feeling that you are after, which is why you want this thing or this outcome? And write in detail about how your life will be different in the scripting letter. That means every day when you read it, you're visiting that reality in detail. It's not just like you're looking at your goal. It's not like you're writing it as an affirmation. You're actually making it easier. It's all about finding ways to make it easier for you to energetically be able to transport yourself there, to feel it. Even if you have aphantasia and you can't physically visualize something in your imagination, that's okay. Scripting will still work for you. Another tool that has worked really well for me is using an app called Parrot or if you have an Android, there's an equivalent one called Easy Voice Recorder. Basically, it's a voice memo app. It's quite simple. And I just record myself talking about all the things that I have manifested in my life as if they've already happened. Kind of same concept as the scripting. The cool thing about these apps is once you've recorded it, you press play and it will loop over and over and over again. So maybe the voice memo is 5 minutes long and I press play and I just have it on in the background while I'm working, on low volume even sometimes. So it's just laudable? Just loud enough or just audible enough for my subconscious to absorb it. Or I will listen to it full volume when I'm doing my hair, my makeup, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. That helps me when I'm not in the mood, when I'm struggling to find the feeling or the motivation to imagine being the version of me who has these things. I can listen to my own voice when I was motivated, when I recorded it, playing in my ear. And it's just a great way to instantly transport myself back to feeling like I'm living in the end or living in the wish fulfilled. Another really important thing that I do, especially I've done this with the Parrot app, is I have recorded my voice talking about how I have manifested these goals in a really kind of grateful but at the same time nonchalant way. You know, instead of being like, oh my goodness, I've received this much money and it's just so amazing. Instead, I'm just like, yeah, so once again, I've received this amount of money. It just dropped into my bank account. It's completely normal for me now, right? So I hear my own voice normalizing my goals. And that's so powerful for my brain to feel normal, safe and familiar, normal, safe and familiar, normal, safe and familiar with the things that I want. Because if we have goals, and maybe this is something that some of you may have been doing wrong for a long time, and maybe you're feeling like, why has it still not happened? It's possible that you've been thinking about what you want, but putting it way up on a pedestal while putting yourself way down with all of these beliefs, these limiting beliefs that it has to take a long time, or that it's really hard for you, or that you're far away from it, or that this version of you couldn't have it yet. And so all of that stuff is like getting in the way between you and that thing. Whereas imagine if you could just clear all of that stuff away, bring those goals down, take them off the pedestal, normalize them, make them sound so safe, normal and familiar to your brain, because our brains will hold us away from things that feel unfamiliar to us. If you can make it feel familiar to your brain, you're going to feel much more open to noticing the things that will take you there, to taking action on the things that will take you there. I completely forgot to include the third way that I use the Neville Goddard technique to help me to live in the wish fulfilled. And that is just leveraging the time I go to sleep every night. As I am in bed drifting off to sleep, I will either imagine a scene that represents that what I want has manifested, and I loop that scene over and over again until I fall asleep. Sometimes it's easier than other times, but with a bit of practice it becomes easier. The other alternative that I use when I'm falling asleep, I imagine that the bed that I can feel underneath me is actually a bed in my desired reality. So maybe if you want to move into a different house or be in a different country, you can actually imagine that the bed underneath you is your bed in Bali or wherever you want to be, and you can sense the room around you that you want to be in. This is a really powerful hack because as you are drifting off to sleep, your subconscious mind is opening up. So you're directly giving your subconscious mind the cue that this is the reality we are in, and then it will process that and digest that and rehearse that while you sleep. Our subconscious minds are more powerful than we even understand. But according to Neville Goddard, your subconscious mind brings that reality to you in the days, weeks, months to follow. Be consistent with it. You're going to sleep every night anyway, you may as well leverage that time of day. To share a couple of examples of things that have manifested for me, it includes living in Spain full time in a villa that I love. All the details of that lifestyle, having our own pool, feeling the sun on my face every day, being surrounded by nature, our money going so much further than it did in London. The fact that I drive the car that I used to dream of this month, hit an income goal that has been something that's honestly been a dream for a very long time. There was a time when I used to think it was so far away. And I've done a lot of mindset work, particularly this last year, since like the beginning of 2024, to normalizing it and making it feel safe, making it feel like no big deal, taking it off a pedestal. I have implemented the things that I've shared with you in this video, especially I was doing it intensively for the first quarter of this year. And then now in the last quarter of this year, it's showing up. It's interesting how these things unfold. So for anyone who wants to really master this concept of living in the end, living in the wish fulfilled, for anyone who wants to embody it to a level that you've never embodied it before, even if you're not somebody who can like ignore your reality, but you still want to be able to get results using this Neville Goddard technique, I have created a 6-part series, the Reality Reboot, where you can listen to it on the go or at home, totally up to you. Even while you're busy over the holiday season, perhaps especially if you're busy over the holiday season. I know sometimes we are spending a lot of time with family, and that might be great for some people, or it might be actually also incredibly draining for some people. You might want a way to be able to tune out of it sometimes and protect your energy. Just tune out and tune in. Hello, mosquito. Yes, goodbye. If you want to put an end to the binging of social media and you want to actually draw a line in the sand and start shifting your internal belief systems, your energy, letting go of energetic blocks, to doing the mindset work to transport yourself into your desired reality, then the 6-part series would be something I'd recommend for you. I'll put the details in the description, in the caption below. If you haven't done so already, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Remember to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss another video. Ooh, and if you liked this video, I think you're gonna love this one.